I'm Walter Krebs from Prairie Home Inspection. Thanks for inviting us in.
Hi there, I'm Walter Krebs from Prairie Home Inspection. Welcome to this week's episode of Tuesday's Tips, your weekly home inspection series that is meant to help you with your search for a new home. Today, we're going to talk about the ceiling. The ceiling of a home is usually made of drywall and a water-based stucco. Both products are susceptible to all kinds of damage. Water damage, cracks, mechanical damage, and so on. If we were inspecting the walls, we'd be able to feel our way around typical damage locations. But with the ceiling, we're going to have to rely on a different inspection tool. Your eyes. I'm going to show you typical locations to look for issues with the ceiling. Now, do you remember episode 5? I showed you where to look for wall cracks. It's the same basic idea when you look for cracks in a ceiling. Look for points where structure meets structure. Let me show you. You already know from our wall episode to look here, where the ceiling meets the wall. But you have the entire perimeter of the house to look at and both sides of every interior wall. When I inspect your home, I will inspect those locations. But you as a home shopper, I would say just to make random checks of those spots. You still want to be able to have time to actually view the home. But should you find any beams, make sure you have a look on both sides of them. This is a beam that is wrapped in drywall and part of this home structure. Make sure you check both sides. This beam can move independently of the ceiling, and this movement can crack the finishes. The trusses or rafters are also structured, and they too may move independently of the ceiling. This can result in cracks in the middle of the room as well as around the perimeter. But damage should not always deter you from buying a home that you love, as long as you have a repair strategy. This strategy should include further evaluation by a qualified professional. Now, sometimes the ceiling is new or freshly painted. This will limit your ability to spot the damage. Now, that's when you really need the help of your professional home inspector. My experience and knowledge will come in handy. Let's move from cracks to water damaged ceilings. Your inspection of the ceiling can actually start on the outside of the home. If you saw signs of ice damming on the outside, then you should look closely at the ceiling. Ice dams will trap water at the eaves. If this water found its way into the home, you would most likely see the damage where the ceiling meets the exterior wall. But water damage to a ceiling doesn't only just happen at the building's perimeter. A failed roof covering or a bad flashing could result in a leak that causes damage to the ceiling anywhere. A strange phenomena that is related to damaged ceilings is attic rain. This can occur during the winter months. Warm, humid air enters the attic from the home's living space, and due to inadequate attic ventilation, the moist air condenses, then freezes in the attic. When it warms up, the ice and frost in the attic melts and rains down onto the attic insulation and ceiling. Invariably, there is sufficient attic rain to damage or destroy the ceiling. The damage may only show itself as a brownish stain on the ceiling. The stain itself is not serious, but what it could represent can be serious. It might be the suggestion of more extensive moisture intrusion and therefore cause for concern. Again, a freshly painted ceiling may hide the brown stain from you. But if drywall or a textured ceiling is still holding moisture, my thermal imaging camera has a really good chance of finding it, even though it's not visible to the naked eye. Now, while you're looking up, back yourself into a corner and eyeball the ceiling. This macro view will help you check for overall failure of the ceiling or even the results of structural failure. Another very unusual phenomena that can occur to a ceiling is truss uplift. Truss uplift can result in a gap opening between the ceilings and the walls in the winter and then closing in the summer. This is not a deficiency, believe it or not, but it sure can be disturbing to the home shopper. As a home inspector, this bizarre effect is something that I am aware of, and I will make a note of it on your inspection report if the house does suffer from it. Well, that's the end of today's home inspection tip, but I will be back again next week for another of Prairie Home Inspection's Tuesday's Tips. I'm Walter Krebs saying I'll see you next time. What?
Over and over and over again, I wanna scream from the rooftop, no, this ain't the end. But amongst all these villains, I will be your friend. But amongst all these villains, I will be your friend.
But should you find any beams, make sure you have a look on both sides of them. Just run with it, man. Just try one more, or I don't think it's going to get any better. When I inspect your home, I will inspect both.